Thank you, brother.
All right, so first question is, what does it mean to be a man of God? So what does it mean to be a man of God?
Man, that's gonna be about 15 minutes. What does it be to man of God? A man first. When you understand that you're a man of God first, you gotta understand that you're a man, flawed. An individual that is incapable of being a man of himself. I think most men forget who they are. And when we look at ourselves and realize that we are incapable of being perfect, then we will position ourselves with the perfect one to be perfected. That's key to be a man of God. Every man of God that was used by God had flaws. Even Jesus came through a dirty lineage. So Jesus ain't sitting there looking for perfection. God only required one perfect person to be slain for the sins of men so that men can be humble, selfless, empathetic, and willing to be strong and weak at the same time. The thing about walking with God, you have to understand, I am not as strong as I think I am, nor am I as weak as I feel I am. That's important, because as a man like me, sometimes you come off glory and you done preached, you done felt God's hand on you, and then you're right back into the school. Phil, thank you so much. You back into a school and you feel weak. You don't feel as loving and joyful. That keeps you close to God. So before you can be a man of God, you have to first recognize that you are a man, incapable, flawed. But a man did come to ensure that we can be manly, but yet also be sympathetic and weak enough to ask. Some of us men, we don't know how to ask for help. Even with God, we don't. Or we're just not aware of how he helps us. We think God's just supposed to send all of our solutions. No, sometimes we have to work for the solution. We're not talking about working for grace. We're not talking about working for God's love. We're talking about working to feel what it's like to build equity in a purpose, to build equity in pain, so that when you find yourself at 31, 32, I can pick on myself. The pain that I went through at 24, 25, now I can weather that storm greatly now, because I'm glad God, and that's why I love God so much. You never heard a chapter or read a verse where God brought people around stuff, under stuff. You always heard God bringing people through stuff. And many of us want God, snatch us out. No, if I snatch you out of the situation, my glory won't be manifested. If I snatch you out now, you won't be strong enough. You won't have the strength that I need you to have when it's time to be strong in me. So a man of God has to first realize, I'm a flawed man. But a man of God said, I'm of God. I'm of him. That word of is important. What are you of? You are of what you consume the most. That's what you're of. That's who you are. He said, come from among them and be separate. People think that means us against them. No, it just says, look, listen, am I wearing these lights? The lights are not on me. But the lights are positioned. They don't got to be moved. They do what they do. The thing about us, are we really of God? Do we portray godly characteristics? Do we really operate in love? That's why when you're a man first, you're like, you know what? I can't love like I need to. I'm not content like I need to. Therefore, I really have to be of God. Not with God, not around God, of him. That we are in such unison that when people see me, they say, you know what? That's a man of God. Most people look at the term man of God as perfection. That's not a man of God. A man of God is willing to say, here are my scars, but they're still far away from sins that scarred them. You're talking about being a man of God and you habitually practice sin. You can't practice what God ain't practice. Are you in the same gym that God practiced in? Because if you practice in the wrong place, you're going to pick up moves that's illegal in this game called life. That's why it's important to say, God, I'm in your gym. I'm practicing with you. I'm of you. Do you got post moves like God? You know what I'm saying? How God would be on the block. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, what I'm trying to say is, who's training you? Because whoever you consume the most from is your trainer. So to keep it simple, a man of God is a person that's completely aware of their human self, completely aware of how they got a connection to God, and understanding and trusting that process of becoming even more of a man of God. That's why it's perplexed when you look at the David story. How can God say this is a man after my own heart? How the man that done slept with a woman, took her from her husband, got the man killed, wasn't at war, took a day off, and God still said, that's a man after God's own heart, because David sinned greatly, but repented greatly as well. God's not looking for perfection. He's just looking for an awareness, an appreciation, and the ability to advance from that moment of falling. The Bible even said a just man falls 7 times. He didn't say a man, he said a just man, a good man. And that's why I'm so glad that I'm easy to be transparent, because I'm like, I ain't perfect. I ain't come in this game talking perfect because I ain't want nobody to put that perfect stamp on me. That's why I'm like, here's my scars. But that's just the introductory answer for what it means to be a man of God. We can go into layers, but that right there, if you could chew through that, take some time to chew on that, and then really ask yourself, am I of God? When people look at your life, can they see God in you? Not on Sundays. We're talking about Monday. We're talking about Saturday night. We're talking about the day after you found out something that really hurt you. We're talking about what will people be, how people can see God people can see God at his greatest in you on how you suffer. Not how you win. You can see God in me when I'm winning. But Josh, I saw the Wells Fargo when he lost his job. That's when you really see God. You know, when you're going through pain, you know, do you curse God and die? Or do you say, you know what, God, where are we going from here? Because God, if you close this door, I know I'm days away from the door I need to be. People see God at his best when you're going through tough times. That's the measure of your relationship. Now, when you're going through good times, but when you're going through tough times. Also, another measure of your walk with God is both, honestly. Good times and bad times. Some of us, we quick to leave God when it gets good. So, next question.